So again, a different type of organization. I'm going to talk about CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, that provides facilities for nuclear research, such as the Great Particle Detector, the LHC. So as the hunger of physicists for computing power is basically infinite, we needed to deploy a very, very massive computing infrastructure, thus massive networking infrastructure as well. Not only to serve our campus that spreads along the French and Swiss countryside in a 28-kilometer circle, but also to manage all these scientific instruments that can be found there. But we also have some other challenges, such as providing the core of the worldwide LHC computing grid that is located in our computer center that you can see on the picture, at least some parts of it. So as you see from the numbers, the network infrastructure is quite massive with more than 2,500 network devices, 50,000 sockets. I don't think I should throw many numbers anyway. But besides all these challenges, we house also one of the internet exchange points of Switzerland, and we need to deal with all the vendors that we are in good connections with. Mostly we use HP Procure and Brocade equipment, but as you can see, we have several other brands as well, and we all need to manage that. Not talking about the extremely dynamic environment that we need to deal with. So to tackle all these problems, we have a centrally managed, completely automatic configuration system that allows us really to create a service just by clicking, and then all the configuration in the equipment is done automatically. So the configuration system actually speaks all the languages of the different vendors and configures the devices automatically. We provide interface to the users that can contact our central database, and this actually creates tickets also in the system for technicians if connections are needed or user equipment are changed. So this high level of automated processes allows us to have a very limited staff that are dedicated to operations. So the focal point of network operations is the operators team and the different network engineer teams, such as deployment, software team, and there is a network engineer team as it is. So most things are dealt with network operations that are monitoring and giving support. But as you can see, quite a big part of our support line is outsourced to companies that are actually located, bring their people to our site. So we have a very thin layer of a service desk that basically just creates tickets and relays them after the contact from the users. And then network problems are dealt by the IT help desk, and telephony problems. For telephony problems, we have a switchboard. And then, as they work from predefined procedures, so if something is not in these procedures, then it's the operations team that tries to resolve the problem. They provide the managed support for network and telephone issues, and then they might contact the engineer team if necessary. As you can see, we have some external entities. These are the exchange points or external service providers that might contact directly the engineers, but we are shifting this to the operations team as well at the moment. So to talk more about the staff, so the operations team, as you see, it's quite small. It's only 3 non-degree specialists who have experience in the field, but not degreed engineers. They provide monitoring and support for our on-site network and the telecom services during working hours, while there is always one engineer on duty that checks if all the services are running as expected, and monitors the network services such as DNS, DHCP, and the other services running on the servers as well. There is one engineer dedicated for our external contact, and there is an outside working hours service that is provided by our computer center operators that have no deep networking knowledge, but they can monitor our systems, and if a major incident happens, they can trigger an intervention from the technicians. So the tools that we are using, now we are using the Magic Spectrum from CA that provides monitoring for this very large infrastructure, highly customizable, but needs really a big effort to handle it. So we have one dedicated person that is managing the system and integrating all the tools that we were using before to only one single system that can fulfill all our needs, while we also use a little bit of homegrown statistics and some network behavior and detection systems to facilitate the work of support people. So again, the support line is very simple. The team service desk, IT help desk with procedures that are created by the expert, then the small operations team, and then engineers are contacted as a last resource. It's a very small load on the engineers, actually. So the engineers spend maybe 10% of their time resolving incidents or dealing with operation issues, which I find as a very efficient way to deal with these things. We are at the moment at the final stage of implementing ITIL, at least on the support line that we've done on the organization level, so not only for IT services, not only network services, but also for generic services, just as requesting for a key or reporting a water leak. Part of this is this new service that was set up. We were shifting the tools from the remedy system that might be known to many of you to the new tool service now that supports more the ITIL terminology and provides a good tool for tracking SLAs and functions and high customizability. So just to show you the ticket resolution ratio, we managed to outsource to the IT help desk almost a stable 50% of the work that before was done by the operations team. So these are people who have only limited networking knowledge, but with the right procedures that we were giving to them, they managed to resolve a very high percentage of all the issues. And our main strategy with this type of outsourcing is that we outsource services or processes with low added value, and we keep ourselves the high added value services, so that we can change, if necessary, the company, or in case we need to, we can in-source again these services very, very easily. And I think this strategy works yet very, very well. So the short part comes, the internal communication. Well, let's start with internal communication, for which we use, again, the system that we developed for managing the network infrastructure. There we also implemented a small ticketing system that has nothing special, except that it provides the control over the SLAs, because this system is used also by the technicians, by the outsourced services, so we can track the SLAs. You see the little green or red squares there, and then we also have the control on the tickets are only closed if the requesting party has closed it. So we use this ticketing system for the technicians, and also inside our group between the different sections, for example, between the operators and the software team if they request to implement new services. What do we document? Mostly we use the SharePoint collaboration workspace site for providing, first of all, a repository of all kind of documentation and especially procedures for all the support entities. So there is one such site for our technician team where the experts can put their procedures and then they will follow it. Also, there is one for the change management logging. So every standard change is well documented and approved and use these sites. And other procedures such as for monitoring alarms are also stored on these sites. Otherwise, we use Wiki for documentation of standard infrastructure, for example, and we use the Savannah that was created by the SCG collaboration for tracking the tasks in the different teams. That is also going to be a and that's it for me. So I'm happy to
You mentioned your documentation in the SharePoint system and also documentation in TWiki.
So the SharePoint system documents mostly the procedures. So we have there procedures that are easily searchable, and also we provide the functionality that when we want the technicians to have a new procedure, we send it to them, and they either need to approve it, and the system automatically notifies other team members. So these kind of advantages we found in SharePoint. So that's why we use SharePoint for the procedures mostly, and then we use Wiki for real documentation of how we have done things.
So what are the advantages of using TWiki for that over just using SharePoint for or legacy issue?
We started recently with the SharePoint. So last year I started to put together this SharePoint site, and we found the advantages that I just explained. Useful for the procedures, and then later we might consider also for other documentation. But we found Wiki as a very easy tool to put those documentations that are constant and not changing over time. Why the procedures we need to track all the changes, all the versions, and in Wiki these are the.
If you were starting with greenfield, do you think you would just use SharePoint for everything, or do you think you would still use TWiki for the static stuff? I know, because we're in a very similar position. We are expecting to have an internal SharePoint system in the future, and we're currently using a wiki system. So we'll have to think about what's going to be migrating that into SharePoint.
Yeah, you would hear my personal reply for that, which would be more on the SharePoint side. But other people might find Wiki or Wiki and Wiki system more convenient to use. So it's really, I think it's something that depends on the personality or the organization. Yes. The IT, the general IT hub that provides IT support for all sides. Yes, so, yes. Yeah, so we have a weekly meeting with all these teams that are concerned with operations and support. And then we track all the issues that were not resolved correctly. Of course, on the fly, things are coming to the operation, so we can see all these issues, that's what happens. But issues that causing problems are usually discussed with all the contractors. Yes, so one actually that either of the operations team is the same person responsible for tracking the work of both the technician team and the support team. Yes. Anything else? Yes.
Yes, you have your proper network management system with 500,000 lines of code. Who is maintaining and documenting this?
Yes, so this is in my team, the engineering team. Those engineers that are shifting, are doing this shift 1 engineer per day. They are doing one part, the configuration management part of the system, and we have a team of 5 software engineers who are developing this, the whole system, the user interface, and all the other related databases, for example. So we have a dedicated team for this development.
Okay, so you only do the configuration of the tool itself, not...
Yes, so the engineering team does the configuration of the tool, or implement some of the backend functions, such as implementing a new device manufacturer, so that we can configure, I don't know, Juniper systems. But the software development is done by another team within our group. Okay, so thank you very much.